So, good morning or good night, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to another interview of the Shield Dude on a Couch. I'm your host, Hector, and today I'm joined by Andrew. He's the lead guitarist for the band Recidivist, which is a death metal band from Salt Lake City, Utah. So, Andrew, how are you tonight?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Thanks for asking. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. So, when I think of Salt Lake City, death metal doesn't come to mind. So, yeah, I'm like, ooh, I think Mormons when I think of Salt
Yeah,
Lake
yeah.
City.
No,
So
100%.
yeah, but
Yeah,
it's good. It's good to know that there's a thriving metal scene there too.
yeah, absolutely. Not a lot of metal bands from Salt Lake City for sure. Especially death metal. Going into it, kind of like I don't know, like a goal of Recidivist since day one has been to put Utah death metal on the map, I suppose.
Hmm.
Um, we got a really good hardcore scene here in Salt Lake City. Um, Recidivist is one of the only death metal bands around here though that plays shows
But
consistently.
you're
So
like a death metal band with a tinge of hardcore to it as well.
yeah, people ask us, they're like, so like what genre are you guys? And we call ourselves death metal and we are death metal. Obviously there's a lot of like death metal influence there. But there's a very heavy hardcore influence as well. Um I feel like we're just Recidivist is just a bunch of hardcore kids that love death metal is how I would describe it. So, but
Yeah,
I feel like you see a lot of modern death metal bands kind of incorporating elements of hardcore into their music nowadays. Would you
I
agree?
think I think so too. I think there's one that you also or toured with or open which I had on the channel, Maul, which I think
Yeah,
have a lot of hardcore too with death metal. Yeah.
yeah, Maul's sick. Those guys are awesome.
Yes, I had the singer on my channel. So yeah, I talked to them. So I saw like, oh yeah, that you guys have played shows together. So this is your first full length, but you had an EP in 2022. So tell us a little bit about the history of Recidivist, like how you guys formed and stuff.
Yeah, so we formed, let's see, it's been about 3 years back in 2021. Um and originally we were gonna be more of just like a hardcore band. Recidivist is kind of like a hardcore band name. Um, and I got the name actually from a hardcore band from New Zealand called Saving Grace. Not sure if you've ever heard of them. They're pretty
Uh,
sick though.
no, I haven't listened to them. So
Yeah,
tell me a
they're
little
like
bit how about you inspired for the name?
yeah. So, Saving Grace is a hard is they're New Zealand hardcore, and they're like all of their music's like Christian themed, which is cool too. Um,
Mhm.
but they've got some sick riffs for sure. And the last single that they put out in 2016 before they broke up was called Recidivist. It was a single. And I always thought I saw that song name and I was like, oh, that'd be a hard band name. I want to start a band called Recidivist. And originally we were gonna be just like a hardcore band. Um, but as we started like writing stuff and I kept going to shows and everything, um I just realized how much I loved death metal and I just thought it was the coolest genre on the planet. um and I definitely wanted to put my own twist on it, and so uh my drummer Alex Humphreys and I kind of started Recidivist as a project, and then we got Zach to do vocals and Connor's on bass, and now Matt plays guitar. Our rhythm guitarist Matt didn't officially join Recidivist until after we had been playing shows for like a year and a half or so. Um, Obviously having a second guitarist, you're just able to do a lot more live, and on the record with like harmonies and solos and stuff, and kind of just fill out, the space, um, sound wise. But all of us actually in the band, we've been best friends since high school or earlier. Um, like I mentioned before, Alex, our drummer, I've been best friends with him since we were like babies. Like we don't even remember not knowing each other. And and we're still best friends and hang out on a regular basis, which I know is pretty rare, I guess. But Matt and Zach are twin brothers, so they've known each other since birth. And
Hopefully.
Connor, yeah, literally, yeah. And Connor, our bass player, lived just two houses up the street from Matt and Zach growing up. So we're all really good friends. We're best friends regardless, if we're in a band or not, but we all love, this type of music and stuff. So to be able to play it together, perform together, and write, this stuff together is just like it's awesome.
Yeah. And the album came out one day after Halloween. So
That's right.
yeah, that was the perfect timing. So when I was listening to the record, it's 30 minutes, and there's a song in there that you had already put out as a single, but you reworked it for this album. Uh, but it's kind of like there's a lot of like horror theme. There's the first song. There's like a nuclear. There's something that has happened, and there's zombies. But there's also like a feel of like the '90s death metal sound. So
Mhm.
how when you love death metal, you love hardcore. Was it a conscious decision to have like that '90s death metal sound, or was it just you guys jamming together that it just happened naturally?
Yeah, that's a great question. Um, Obviously, I would say our sound, from our first EP to our, latest release of the full-length album, um, kind of a different vibe for sure. Just in terms of writing, I would say there's a lot more, chuggy, like beat down hardcore riffs in our album compared to our EP that we released. Um,
Hence the hardcore element.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Hence the hardcore element.
Yeah.
I think that we honestly just write the type of music that we enjoy listening to and we enjoy playing is the best way to put it. Um, Obviously any, spooky sounding riffs or like faster tremolo riffs is going to be more death metal influence, but we love just breaking it down and getting people in the pit and moshing and stuff. That's really fun too, of course, and it's just fun to play. It's fun to play as well. Um, Obviously we're very heavily inspired by bands like Dismember, Entombed, um, Cannibal Corpse, Death. Definitely stole a few riffs from Death. Um, but
You say
also
you borrowed.
we borrowed, yes, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. No,
Like everyone borrows from everyone. Like
oh
there's
yeah, no, 1,000,000%. You listen to like Satisfaction is the Death of Desire by Hatebreed, and you're just like, oh, okay. So that's where literally every hardcore band since has gotten,
to
gotten
me
like
every
their
Hatebreed song
inspiration.
sounds like Fame.
Yeah.
It's almost the same thing. Uh, and I shouldn't say that because I reviewed the last Jasta album and I said something about the cover. And I've had this dude follow me on YouTube comments. Apparently, he's the guy who did the album cover. And he's like,
Oh,
"You're just
really?
a poser because you says this album cover sucks." I'm like, "Well, it kind of does suck. It's a ripoff of A Justice for All."
Yeah. I mean, hey, everyone's entitled to their own opinion for sure.
But the
Um,
guy he appeared and then he disappears and he keeps commenting, which I found hilarious. But yeah,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
when with you like we were saying, like every band has borrowed uh everyone. First of all, Black Sabbath did it first.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm 1,000,000%. I couldn't agree more. Black Sabbath did it first. And obviously you have these, legendary bands, coming about in the late 80s, 90s, Obituary, Death, Morbid Angel,
Yeah,
Slayer, obviously, and really kind of just upping the ante, I suppose.
and in the
Um,
2000s, you had like the Black Dahlia Murder,
yeah, yeah,
bringing that death metal to that era.
yeah, exactly. And death metal kind of, fell out of the spotlight, I suppose, for a few years there in the, earlier 2000s and stuff. But then you just saw this wave, this new wave of death metal come back in like the, 2010s, 2015. Now death metal is super hot. There's so many death metal bands doing it. It's sick. You see labels like 20 Buck Spin, Maggot Stomp, Century Media Records. I mean, just pumping out bands, and it's awesome.
Oh, I've interviewed a ton of death metal bands.
Oh yeah,
So, so
yeah,
yeah, and I think like you said, I think music is cyclical. Like
yeah.
everything comes and goes in
Uh-huh.
in cycles. So so you guys, like how was it like doing this type of music in Salt Lake City? Because like Salt Lake, I don't think of that music in Salt Lake City, so I don't know much of the metal scene of Salt Lake City. I think you're the first Salt Lake City band I'm interviewing.
Yeah, well, I'm honored. We're
Yeah.
honored for sure. Um, yeah, there's definitely a hard Salt Lake hardcore scene here is awesome. A lot of amazing people. I've only been going to shows um pretty recently. I think the first show I went to was end of 2021. Um,
Okay.
or like January 2022. So it's only been a couple years. So I'm like a new kid to the scene. Um,
Okay.
so I'm still new to all this, I suppose. I don't know everything, obviously, but there's a lot of great hardcore bands here in Salt Lake. When it comes to death metal though, um Sacrilegion's super sick. Those guys are awesome. They're like more like melodic death metal though. And they don't play hardcore shows. They play more like, metal shows at like bars and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, Recidivist, we're kind of one of the only bands doing the death metal thing here in Salt Lake, at least. Um, so that definitely sets us apart, of course, too. But we only play like hardcore shows mostly, at least locally here. So, but that's where all our best friends are in the scene and everything, and those are the funnest shows to play for us too, as well. So we enjoy that.
Yeah. And you said that you write most of the music. So what's your process like when you're trying to get these sick death metal riffs? Like how do you get inspired for the riffing?
Oh man, that's a great question. Um, Honestly, just sitting down and just messing around with your guitar. I didn't start playing guitar till I was, let's see, like 21. I just turned 26 like
Wow.
last week. So
So yeah,
I've only been
a
playing
late
guitar like
bloomer.
5 years. Yeah, yeah, late bloomer for sure. I actually played the violin my whole life. That was like my main instrument, believe it or not. Um, my parents started me on violin when I was like 3 years old, and I played that all growing up,
So,
you know.
so were you into Yellow Card?
I did listen to Yellow Card. Yeah, I
You
did listen to
already had
Yellow
the
Card back in
violin.
high school. Yeah, for sure. But I would play, classical music, and my mom would take me to my violin lesson once a week. And I remember that was just like my lifestyle. And I kind of had like a tiger mom in a way, like, she'd like make me, make sure I'd practice, an hour every single day or whatever. Otherwise, can't go play outside, can't go play with friends, whatever. Um, but and in the moment, you're a little kid, you don't want to do that. It sucks, but it paid off because as I got older, I was able to get full tuition scholarship to Weber State University to play in the orchestra there for a couple of years, which was nice. I ended up dropping out to just focus on my business major though, because I didn't want to be like a professional violinist or whatever. But picking up guitar after having previous musical experience, I think made it a lot easier. I do believe that guitar is one of the easiest instruments to learn. You
So
see a lot of
it's
people
easier
playing it.
it's easier than violin.
I would say so for sure.
Yeah. I don't play shit,
Obviously,
so I'm gonna take your word for it, man.
no, 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 for sure. Obviously, difficult to master. I wouldn't say, I would say I'm a good, intermediate guitar player at this point now. I'm nowhere near. I see other people they shred like crazy, and I wish I could do that. But it's a constant journey. Of course, I'll never stop pushing myself to keep learning and practicing, and getting better at guitar and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I started playing guitar like 5 years ago.
But you
So
know
I'm not.
what you can do? Like if someone challenges you like that, let's do like a riff off that you take out the violin. I'm like, play this,
Yeah.
bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's the funny thing is I'm like 10 times better at playing the violin than I am at playing guitar, but I'm in a death
Dude,
metal, which is sick.
you should do a song with a death metal song with a violin. Now that's unheard of.
Yeah, yeah, I could definitely if we come up with a way that we could pull it off, I'm open to
I
all
don't know. I
ideas.
think it would be interesting because no more saxophones. It's been done. Rivers of Nile did it. Then Tummo did it. We
Oh
get it.
man.
You guys love Kenny G.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
it's like I remember when I heard the first saxophone. I thought, this is inventive. Now on every
Yeah.
like death metal, there's saxophone every. I'm like, okay, pull it a little bit with the saxophone, but the violin, yeah,
For sure. Yeah, it would be original, absolutely. Um but back to the writing process.
yeah.
I honestly just I'll go to the gym and listen to bands that I enjoy listening to, and I'll get inspired with a certain song structure or a certain riff or something. And then I'll just want to go home and just, either learn that riff, play that song, or just like make something up myself. Um, but going back to our previous conversation, it's always funny because even when I sit down and I feel like I've come up with something that's 100% original,
Mhm.
it's 100% not original. It's definitely inspired by some band. Someone's done it before. Everything's been done before, right? But that's the beauty of music is, we get to listen to it, we get to enjoy it, we get to play the game ourselves and kind of put our own spin on things, and share that with
Yeah.
others, which is cool.
It's like, unless it's like a super rip off that you're like, that riff is exactly the same like
Yeah.
before. So I was looking up the word of recidivist in the dictionary. Is it?
Yes.
Well, there's a few ones. Noun, a
Yeah.
convicted criminal who reoffends, especially repeatedly. Or there's an adjective that says the third lowest recidivist rate in this country. Well, I'm guessing it's like a convicted criminal, but in your case, it's because you are reoffending with the sick riffs. I think.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, repeat offender. It's kind of like a legal term. Um, Religiously, it could be used as someone who like recommits the same sin over and over again or something. There's a few different definitions, but
So
yeah,
a
repeat
lot of
offender is
people.
kind of like the one. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's funny because we joke about it sometimes. We're like, is Recidivist like a good death metal band name? And it's like, I feel like it's a better hardcore band name than death metal, but we put a certain aesthetic to it with the artwork, with the
I don't know.
skeletons,
Like,
with the riff styles. It looks cool. The logo looks cool in like the death metal, font and everything. So,
yeah, it looks cool, and plus it's different, and there's just
mhm.
so many. I think there's going to be a time when people are going to run out of band names.
Oh, dude, no, literally, like, try to come up with an original band name or song name nowadays. Like it's
It's
in
very
the realm
difficult.
of death metal, it's near impossible, Like it's hilarious. You just start using the same words but in different order, like Mortician, Zombie Apocalypse, and then Fulchily just has a song called Apocalypse Zombie off Tropical Sun. It's like it's sick, it's all sick, but it's like everything's been done before, so you have to like really you just got to dig deeper, man.
Yeah. So but you write most of the music, but your singer writes the lyrics then.
Yes, Zach writes all the lyrics. He does a really good job at that for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
I read them. We got the lyric PDF, and I read. Oh yeah, there's zombie stuff. There's
yeah,
like
definitely 80s horror themed. We all love, all horror movies, modern horror, old school horror, all the slashers. They're awesome. Um,
which one did you watch on Halloween?
which one did I watch on Halloween? I watched The Shining on Halloween.
Ah, nice. That's a classic
Yeah,
one.
classic one. My girlfriend hadn't seen it though, so I was like, gotta watch it for sure.
Did you say like, hey, we should stay at that hotel? And she's like, fuck no.
Oh, I'd love to, man. I think you can stay there, but it's like really expensive because I was looking it up after I watched that film. I was like, how
Yeah.
cool would
I
it
think
be?
it's in Colorado, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's in Colorado.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I know people who have been to it actually. You can go to it. They have like the hedge maze and everything. I think it's a little bit smaller in real life than it was like depicted in the movie, but it'd be so cool.
Yeah, no, it's a really cool movie,
Yeah.
and definitely want to watch uh on Halloween. So yeah, horror theme, and you guys, for a first album, it sounds really tight. Uh, who produced the record?
Yeah, so we recorded we recorded just like stems basically with Nick Karchner at the Grotto Audio here, and I think his studio's down in Sandy, Utah. Um so that was local, which was nice. We had it mixed by Ryan Bram at Home Record Studios down in Tucson, Arizona. Um
Nice.
he's a legend. He did all of Gate Creeper's earlier stuff. I think he did some work with Creeping Death, Terminal Nation. Um which that type of sound, that type of death metal is right up our alley, and Recidivist, of course, too. And then mastered by Brad Boatwright, Audio Siege. Um so they did a really good job. Obviously, they helped us sound a lot cooler than I think we actually are. But hey, that's the goal. That's what you want to do, right? Um
Hey, it sounds cool on the record. So
yeah.
let's look at the album artwork for people who haven't seen it. This album is already out. It's
Yes.
been out a few weeks now. So yeah, and the name haven't sent the name of the album, Madness Malformed. And I
That's
like
right.
that you used for the name of the album like the Castlevania type lettering.
Yeah, it looks sick.
The Castle, yeah, yeah. So tell me a little bit about what you guys were going for with the artwork.
Yeah, so we definitely love the skeleton aesthetic, the whole skeleton vibe, with Recidivist. I think every piece of artwork that we've put out has skeletons on it, which is sick. We also do this thing where the singles are always in black and white, and then like the longer releases, EPs, LPs are in full color, um, which is cool. We just have that going so far. Um, I think that horror movies and death metal kind of go hand in hand. So, a big part of death metal that I love is the artwork, of course, too, because it kind of has like those horror themes and stuff depicted. And, who doesn't love a good album artwork? We've all been in a position where, you're looking for a new band to listen to or something, and you come across, an album artwork, whether it's on Spotify or maybe at a
Yeah.
record store or something,
That's
and it
what
just
got me from the
catches your
promo.
eye. Exactly, yeah.
When they
It
sent me
catches your eye.
and it said Salt Lake City, I'm like, God, I gotta talk to them.
Yeah. It looks sick and you're like, whoa, like what is this? Who are these guys? Um,
Yeah.
and so yeah, we've worked with a lot of different artists, most of which we found through just like through Instagram, social media. It's 2024, social media gets you connected like that. And our homies in Sacrilegion, who are another, Salt Lake City death metal band, more like, melodic death metal. They had this guy do their artwork who was really good. And I think he lives down in Venezuela. And so we
Oh,
hit him
cool.
up and we had him do this for us. And I think he absolutely killed it. Um, we kind of just gave him like the song titles and stuff and the name of the album and kind of just let him do his own thing. And he was sending back sketches and I remember we got it and we were like, holy crap, this guy's killing it. This is so sweet. So we were super excited with how the artwork turned out. Um I think we gave him like a color palette. Like we liked the darker blue and like orange or red kind of stuff. And so he went with that. And then Matt, our rhythm guitarist, he does like all of our like graphic design for like show flyers and like
Mhm.
he was able to put like our logo on this and like chose the font for Madness Malformed and made it look super cool and everything. So he's a wizard with all that stuff, which is
Yeah.
sweet too. But
Yes, I think you gotta pay attention to the fonts that you're using because like if it
yes.
look too goofy, like no, it's gonna kill the vibe of the
Hmm.
record. But the artwork came out really great, and I think it's awesome that you can find like people now on Instagram. It has to be much easier now than back for the bands in the 90s
Oh
to
man.
get,
Yeah.
to get those maybe a lot of people were like, no, we're not gonna do like this type of like horrific paintings. But yeah, it looked really great. And the album is 9 songs, and it flows really well. So it starts. It's actually 9 songs, 8 because I think Radiation Apocalypse is like the intro to the album
Yeah.
before you go into Zombie Invocation. But I like it because like I like that every like song almost starts with a sound. Like for example, like drowned in a swamp, you hear like the drowning or the water. So I'm like, yeah, it's good. So you can get into the like the world of this album.
Yeah, it
Uh,
sets the mood, sets the tone for sure.
yeah, the only one that you had released was before was Cryptic Nightmare. What changed from the version that you had to this one?
Yeah, so we definitely got better production the second
Mm,
time around on Cryptic Nightmare. Obviously, listening to them back to back, the guitars are way bigger, the drums are bigger, the vocals, pierce through. It just sounds better overall. Um, we wanted to re-record it because Cryptic Nightmare as a single was awesome. Um, and we felt like it deserved to be on an album as well, not just be a single by itself. And it turned out really good. I think specific differences, Matt and I hit a couple dive bombs that sound a little bit differently. Other than that, it's pretty much the same. I didn't really change the solo or anything like that. Riff for riff, it's really similar as well, but the production's the biggest difference, obviously, between the two.
awesome, yeah. And I know you guys had a release show back on the 8th of November
That's right.
with Great Titan and Song Shot. Tell me a little
That's
bit how
correct.
how the record release party was.
Oh man, that was so much fun. Um, yeah, shout out Salt Lake Hardcore. Everybody that was there was, I mean, we were all just best friends. We're all homies. Um, Sewn Shut, they're awesome. Grave Titan is amazing. They're so sick. I've been listening to so much Grave Titan these past few weeks since we got them to play the show with us. And I thought it was super cool. It was a fun show because we kept it shorter with only 3 bands playing
Hmm.
um that night, which I think was nice because Recidivist ourselves, we were playing a 30-minute full set of the album start to finish. So we wanted to keep it shorter and sweet, I suppose. But it was super fun, great turnout. We all played really well. We felt really good about it and stuff. Our friend Chase filmed it, which was sick. And there's just a lot of really good people in Salt
Are
Lake
you gonna put it
Hardcore.
on? Are you gonna put that show online?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
he'll
in
post
your YouTube? Yeah.
he'll post it on his YouTube. Uh yeah, I think his YouTube's like Chase the Bag or something. I could send it to you after this, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Awesome, man.
he posts a lot of like local stuff, and it's really cool because he does it kind of in like this like vintage style. Like it looks like it was filmed like on a handheld like camera back in like the 90s or something. It's sick.
Yeah, there's a
So
YouTuber
it's
here in
old
Puerto Rico that he goes to the shows and he has this like camera and he films all the shows too. And he's like
Yeah.
he goes to the front and he's holding this for the whole show. I'm like, that's commitment.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
not gonna
seriously.
I'm not gonna hold a fucking camera a whole fucking show to film a show. No.
Oh, exactly.
I just
Yeah.
take like a snippet on my phone, but no, yeah, I wanna be, I wanna look at it. But yeah, it's good to document, especially underground bands.
Oh yeah, 1,000,000%. And that's, those are the type of people that really make this scene what it is. And they add so much, which is super cool. So yeah, the record release show on Friday was awesome for us. And we had a great turnout, sold a bunch of merch, which is great because we're just like, this tiny local band. So that was cool for us.
Every band starts like a tiny local band.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, And then we went with Grave Titan back up to Boise, Idaho, where, most of that band lives, and played Boise with them the next day on Saturday, which was also awesome. Um, and then drove back Sunday. So just a quick little like weekend warrior, two-show weekend, which was cool for us.
Do it yourself type of thing. So, what's the
Yeah.
record label that released the album? I
Yeah,
haven't
so
mentioned it.
yeah, they're called Creator Destructor Records based out of, the Bay Area in California. Um they got some pretty sick bands. Doomsday is on there. Upon Stone used to be on Creator Destructor Records. Creator Destructor Records put out Tsunami's like first LP, I think.
Awesome,
Um
yeah.
yeah, and they did some stuff with Cruelty as well. So definitely some notable bands. I think Big Ass Truck is on the same label as us as well right now. Those guys are killing it, which is sick. Um, but yeah, super super cool opportunity. Oh, Spinebreaker, of course. That's what got us. That's like essentially what got us on Creator Destructor Records. Um, this would be more of like a story for Zach to tell our vocalist, but um we were tight with Spinebreaker a little bit, and we got Alex from Spinebreaker to do a guest vocal spot on the title track of our LP, Madness Malformed. Um, and after we did that, we had the album like it was mixed, mastered, finished, paid for. We just were looking for a label basically to put it out for us and just help us get a little bit more exposure, if that makes sense. And I
That
think
makes total
Zach
sense. Yes.
yeah, I think Zach emailed Ben from Creator Destructor Records through his like um I can't even remember what it's called. Uh he shot him an email, and he was like, "Hey, we're just this death metal band from Salt Lake." I don't know what he said exactly, but we got Spinebreaker, to do a guest spot on it and everything. We're just looking for someone to put it out for us if you're at all interested. And um Ben took a leap of faith with us, and he shot us an email back. He was like, yeah, this thing looks sick, sick artwork, sick riffs. How do you guys feel about like a release like later this fall? And we were like, yeah, that'd be dope. Just the fact that this conversation was even happening at all was insane to us. So um
Nothing happens
super
if
cool opportunity.
you don't lose anything by just asking.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why I say I sent Chino Moreno a message to interview Deftones. I haven't heard that back from him, but I'm hopeful that one day maybe I can talk to him. But yeah,
Yeah,
no,
you
I
miss
like.
all the shots you don't take, right? So
Yeah, that's right. If you don't like, you never know if you don't go for it. So yeah, so the record, yeah, it's a sick death metal record. 30 minutes. It's great to go to the. It's great. It's a go to the gym type of record. You go to the
yeah, yeah.
gym, like you pump, and you're out. It's got some great riffs, like it. And I bet it's fun to listen to live, because death
Yeah.
metal is always better live.
Yes, I completely agree.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I love going to the gym myself, so I definitely understand that. Anytime I can find an album that's like 30 minutes or less is perfect. Um,
Right now, there's a lot of bands are putting albums that are like 30 to 35 minutes.
yeah,
I
a little bit
reviewed a lot of
shorter.
albums that it's like doing shorter stuff.
Yeah.
Even like mainstream bands are doing this.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I think
It's interesting. It could be because people's attention spans are getting shorter or something nowadays, or
it's
I don't
interesting
know.
because back in my time, like when I say my time, in the 90s, like bands put out like epic, like 60, an album was usually like 50 minutes to an hour. Like
Yeah.
usually, like all the albums were like uh or at least more than 45, like 45 minutes. So it's now that it's more common because back in the 90s, albums were now you people would think they were too long.
Yeah. No, 100%. And that's interesting. Um, how it's gotten a little bit shorter. I feel like a lot of bands nowadays um tend to be more consistent with their writing, And there's something
Mhm.
to be said about maybe, taking like maybe you write, 60 minutes worth of material, but, just taking the best 30 minutes of those songs that you wrote and
Or you
putting them.
can divide it, and then you have two albums.
Yeah, or you can divide it and have two
And then
songs.
we'll put the other one. So
Yeah, for sure.
so Andrew, now we're almost at the end of the year. So I usually ask people like any favorite records from this year?
Favorite records from this year. 200 Stab Wounds new album was
Oh yeah.
awesome. I've been waiting for that one for a couple years. Uh, Manual Manic Procedures, I think it's called. Um, Definitely those guys
The
are one of my
artwork for
favorite
that
bands
one is
doing it.
pretty graphic.
Yes, the artwork, let's just start with the artwork. The artwork for that album is insane. And I think they use like a special uh like a special like type of effect of doing it where like part of it is like drawn, but part of it's like actual photos that are real. Like one of the surgeon's hands is like a real surgeon's hand, and like the eyeball on the dude is like a real eyeball.
Yeah,
It
it
just
looks
looks
really.
crazy. Anytime there's artwork where you look at it and you just want to keep staring at it for like a few minutes, I love that. Um, and there's definitely some very memorable and just epic riffs on that record that are just so iconic and I think are really cool. Fulci had a new album that was pretty cool, which was sick. Those guys have been killing it. I think they just signed with 20 Buck Spin as well. Now they're on tour with Suffocation and I Am Morbid because Morbid Angel had to drop off that tour, but I'm excited to see that show next month. That'll be cool. Let's see other albums that came out this year. I'm trying to think.
A
Um,
lot of shit has come out.
yeah, there's been a lot of stuff that has come out for sure.
Yeah.
Um, oh, Gate Creeper's new album, obviously. That was very sick as well. I actually went to their record release show down in Mesa when they played it back in like May, I think it was.
Mm.
Um, Gate Creeper's a very sick band.
Yeah. Did you listen
Um,
to the Necron album?
yes, I did listen to the Necrot album. Very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, that was a cool one. There's a lot. There's so many ones that obviously the new Black Dahlia murder was a big deal
Yes.
for being the first one without Trevor. But yeah, a lot of great stuff. But I
Yeah,
listened to a
Coffin
lot of
Rot had a
different
new
stuff.
album too that was cool.
Who?
Oh, Coffin Rot's new album was also
Oh yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Yeah,
a lot of
sure
stuff.
you heard that.
Yeah. So now that your album is out, what can we expect next from Recidivist in the next few months?
Yeah, so um just with how everyone's lives are going right now in the band, um touring like full time isn't super plausible at the moment. However, these smaller like 2 or 3 day weekend runs like we
Hmm.
just did, very doable. And everyone, that's what we really want to do. So um look out to see us, I guess, down south where it's warmer in the winter months.
Yes,
Arizona. We're trying to play some nearby cities, like Las Vegas, maybe Mesa, Arizona. Maybe for sure get over to like Southern California here in the next few months. Um, and play some shows, maybe down to Texas as well too, if we can set some stuff up down there. And kind of just keep the momentum going, keep the ball rolling if we can.
yeah.
Um,
Are you already thinking of newer music?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I think that it's a really good idea as an artist to always be writing new material and always have,
Hmm.
multiple songs under your belt that are good quality too. So then you're not like crunched on time, if you have some sort of deadline with a label or something to release an album. As far as our next release, um, we're talking about doing a split at some point next year. Uh
Okay.
I think that would be really cool for us. And then after that, maybe another full length. But
Yeah, there's a whole lot of bands doing splits. I remember, I think Fit for an Autopsy did a split with, I think it was Diary's Murder or something like that. Or
yeah,
like, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's an interesting idea to do
yeah,
splits. Like you have the best of both, like the two bands, and it's like it's almost like the band or like a fight, the one band versus the other band, but it's
Yeah.
collaborate, but collaborative in nature. So yeah, Andrew, like it's been fun chatting with you about obviously recidivist,
Thank
death
you.
metal, and everything in between. So I'll post the link for people who want to get the album, which is out now. Uh, do you have it on CD? Is it on vinyl too?
Yeah, yeah, we've got it on vinyl. You can pre-order that through Creator Destructor Records. You can find the link like on their Instagram and stuff. And yeah, everything's online now. Everything's through social media, which is cool. So,
Everything is online. Unlike back in the days where, where you couldn't find anything online because there was no online. So, Andrew, before I let you go, anything you like to say to the fans or the people before we go?
go check out Madness Malformed streaming everywhere now. Go follow us on Instagram, Recidivist UT, and hopefully, we can play a show soon in a city near you. Be sweet.
Yeah, yeah. For here, it would be hard. You have to take a plane and come to Puerto Rico. But we have some
Oh, that
cool
would
death
be
metal.
awesome.
We have some cool death metal bands here, and
Yeah.
so yeah, maybe yeah, it would be cool. There's some cool bands that played here. So yeah, it's cool. So Andrew, again, thank you for taking some time of your early night to chat with me here. From Utah here to Puerto Rico. So
Yeah.
Couchers, Recidivist. The album is out now. If you like death metal with horror and great riffing, uh, uh, go listen to it. And if you want Andrew to include violin on the second album, vote down below. People like both violin. So until next time, couchers, this Hector, the shield dude on a couch, and I'll see you all right here on the couch. Thank you and goodbye.